Is cold fusion real? Inside the biggest science hoax. Imagine a world where you could generate clean energy just by mixing some metals and water at room temperature. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, that's what cold fusion promised to be. It all started in 1989 when two scientists, Fleischmann and Pons, claimed they had achieved nuclear fusion in a simple lab setup. They used palladium electrodes immersed in heavy water and said they produced more heat than they put in. They also claimed to find signs of nuclear reactions, like helium and neutrons. But things didn't go as planned. Many other scientists tried to repeat their experiments, but most failed. The results were inconsistent, and the supposed nuclear signatures were either missing or too weak. The scientific community quickly grew skeptical. They believed Fleischmann and Pons might have made mistakes, or their data was misinterpreted. This led to a big controversy, and cold fusion became known as a scientific hoax or a case of junk science. Despite the doubts, some researchers kept exploring. They called it low-energy nuclear reactions, or LENR. Sometimes they saw tiny amounts of extra heat, but nothing consistent enough to prove nuclear fusion was happening at low temperatures. The main problem is that fusion normally needs extremely high temperatures and pressures to force atomic nuclei to fuse. Cold fusion claims to do it at room temperature, which goes against what we know about nuclear physics. In recent years, a few groups have suggested that certain materials like palladium or titanium loaded with deuterium, a form of hydrogen, might help increase fusion chances under special conditions. They built devices like the neutristor, which bombard metals with deuterium ions to produce neutrons. But these devices need more energy to operate than they produce, so they're not practical for energy generation. Some government and private labs are still funding experiments to test these ideas, but no one has shown a reliable way to produce energy from cold fusion. Cold fusion is a fascinating chapter in the story of strange experiments and quirky results. It shows how unusual claims can capture imaginations and spark debates about what's possible in science. But the truth is, the original claims have not held up under scientific scrutiny. Most experts agree cold fusion, as originally described, is not real. Still, the ongoing research into related phenomena keeps the curiosity alive. It reminds us that science is always full of surprises, even if some experiments turn out to be false or mistaken. So, to answer the question directly, cold fusion, as it was first claimed, is not considered real by mainstream science. It's widely seen as a scientific hoax or error. But the idea of strange, unexplained heat effects and low-energy nuclear reactions continues to intrigue some researchers. For now, practical cold fusion energy remains out of reach, but the story of this controversy remains a curious and quirky part of scientific history.